Hey there, and welcome to Ruck Up Buttercup, the podcast that's all about real talk for military spouses and families. I'm Sabrina, and we're so glad you're here.
And I'm Ashley, and together we dive into the ups, the downs, and everything in between that comes with military life. From deployment tips to marriage conversations to PCS chaos, finding your identity and owning it, nothing is off limits.
And I'm Laura. Whether you're folding uniforms, packing boxes, managing the home front, solo, or just trying to make it through another long week, you're in the right place. Here on Ruck Up Buttercup, we share real stories, honest conversation, and practical support for military families.
We talk about the hard stuff, the hopeful stuff, and everything in between. Because military life is anything but one size fits all.
This is a space to feel seen, supported, and reminded that you're never alone in this journey.
So lace up those boots, lift your chin, and let's ruck up Buttercup. Military life doesn't define us. We rise in.
You can also hear us on Read Across America Radio on Women in Media Wednesdays at 11 p.m. See you there.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Ruck Up Buttercup. We are here on a weird day today. We are having to re-record this, so I'm really thankful that our guest was able to come back and do this episode all over me with me, which I'm excited because the episode was so fun to record the first time. We had a bunch of glitches, but this time around, it'll be just us. It'll be us today. Our podcast is all about real stories, real strengths, and real struggles, all the things. And so comes with military life. We know that everything's changing, all the different things. And today's episode is a fun episode. Today we're taking a step back and reflecting and kind of understanding a little bit more about what can make you. And I think this is something that a lot of military spouses do to showcase their personalities and things like that. So we'll dive into that in a second. But today I want to welcome back Laura. Welcome back again. We just had this wonderful chat a couple weeks ago, and in true military fashion, things don't always work out. And it was just a sign that the universe said that we get to just chat again.
That's right.
So welcome. So Laura is a fellow military spouse of over 20 years and about to start her journey in retirement, correct? Am I remembering that correctly?
Yes, most likely. And true military fashion, things are up in the air with that. So,
I feel like everything is just so up in the air. I think in the last time we recorded, we were talking about me traveling and doing all these different things. And with everything happening in today's world, a lot of that may change. And I'm still planning. And I feel like that's military families. We are always in that planning stage,
right.
That stage of what is next, and then have plan A, plan B, plan C, and then plan D. And then maybe even an emergency plan E to navigate this lifestyle. Will you tell us just a little bit more about your journey as a military spouse and what brought you to what you are currently doing in life?
Absolutely. So, as you mentioned, I've been a military spouse for 24 and a half years. And
That's a feat of its own.
It is. I think just being married for 24 years these days is incredible. Yeah. But as a military family, it's been such a huge blessing, so many opportunities. There's a much longer story, but the short version is I was invited by a friend to meet a guy at the Air Force Academy, and he invited me to ring dance at the end of their junior year. And his roommate needed a date, so I brought a friend along, and turned out we liked each other's dates, and we swapped and married each other's dates. They're still married, we're still married, and
the fact that you both married the other person's date and you're still married is just such a cute, Hallmark,
yes.
movie. I could just see next military Hallmark movie.
I know. I've had so many people say that. They're like, you should tell your story. And so just a really fun start to our relationship. And I have been so blessed to be with him on this journey. And I had such a good example because my grandmother was an Air Force spouse. My aunt was an Air Force spouse. And they were spouses during World War II, Korea, Vietnam. And so through Iraq, Afghanistan, and now with Iran, I always go back to that perspective and that example that they set for me, which is like, people have gone before me and done this, and they not only survived but thrived, and I can too. So it's time to put on my big girl pants and make this happen, help my husband be able to do the job that he's tasked to do, whatever that is, and play his role in our military so that our family continues to thrive, and so that other military spouses have that example and hopefully that mentorship and friendship to refer to and thrive themselves. That's the long and short of things for me.
All the things. And I think that's so important to state, especially right now. I've had so many other military spouses, whether they're guard, reserve, especially my guard and reserve spouses who don't have that community aspect, are reaching out and just being like, one, thank you for saying that, or thank you for showing that there is a nicer community, a more friendly, more welcoming community to look towards and look to for tips and tricks and all the things. Because right now is a very scary time for a lot of our spouses. Most of our military community has never deployed. Like currently serving, they have not experienced this. I remember when we were deployed back in 2020 for Iraq and Afghanistan during the draw, I remember like only 8 people in my husband's entire company had prior deployment. And I was completely flabbergasted and be like, oh my God, these poor spouses, like, how are they going to feel? Because I remember my first deployment as a spouse. And even growing up military, it is a very different thought of having. I joke all the time. My dad and my husband were deployed at the same time.
Wow.
Was not worried about my dad whatsoever. I'm like, he's done this so many times. He's fine. But my husband, I was like, oh my God, he's there and he's all these different things. And so it's a very different feeling. But having someone to look forward to and giving a space where spouses can feel confident in, I can do this, I can handle this, and I will be okay, is such a profound and important thing to do. And that is your mission, is to make military spouses feel confident.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that for a minute. So first, how did you come in? I mean, goodness, how did you come into this whole philosophy of wanting to help military spouses figure out who they are, feel confident in no matter what season of life they are, whether they're growing into something new, going into a new job, or anything like that? What made you say, no, I want to help spouses navigate this cycle of this season of their life?
Yeah. So I have always loved shopping. That was something that my mom and I always did together. She had style. She was an excellent seamstress. She loved clothes and taught me how to dress myself. But there came a point in my life when we lived in the DC area when I had 2 little kids. My husband's working long hours at the Pentagon, and I was just feeling lost. I just had a miscarriage. I was struggling with my body image and that kind of thing, and was just kind of feeling a little bit lost. And I learned that there was somebody in the area who was starting up a business as a personal stylist. Now, this was about 2012. So this is like the height of What Not to Wear on TLC.
I love that show.
A lot of younger people don't know what it is, but they would come in and they'd surprise people and, we're giving you a makeover, and give them a new wardrobe and teach them how to dress their bodies. And there are a lot of things that maybe I wouldn't say are wrong, but like that I wouldn't have done. And it's funny because now they're making a new show and they're with a different philosophy, but same kind of concept. But that was like, oh my gosh, there's somebody who actually does this for like regular people. And so for my birthday that year, my husband said, sure, go ahead. If that's what you want, is work with a stylist. And so she came, she helped me do a wardrobe edit. And then we did shopping and she helped me fill in the gaps in my wardrobe. And I just followed along with her business and social media and stuff through the years. And then she was offering the opportunity to train me and some others as personal stylists so that we could turn around and pass that information on to people in our community. And as you probably know, when you're creating a business, you're trying to figure out who's your ideal client, who, do you want to work with? And to me, I just felt very strongly that the military community, military spouses in particular, were who I wanted to work with, because I understand the challenges of my husband forwarding me an invitation to some event we're expected to go to.
Mm-hmm.
And the dress code is very cryptic, if it exists on there for aliens at all. And what you ask your spouse, what should I wear? And they typically respond with, whatever you want is probably fine.
Or I don't know.
And and you're like,
and you're like, okay, can you find out? We talked about this on the when we recorded this the first time, and I remember like a vivid time where my husband sent me hey, we have this event, and I think it was a dining out, and so I have always been taught a dining out is a formal event,
right?
But then I looked at the location and I was like, there's no way that this is a formal event at this location. And there was nothing about dress code or anything like that. And I was like, first off, like showing up in a formal dress, like I think it was at a brewery. I'm trying to remember where this location was, but I'm fairly sure this was at a local brewery. And I'm like, there's no way that this is a dining out.
Right.
Like whoever created this doesn't know what it is. And I remember sending him a response going, what's the dress code? Because this is clearly not a formal dining out. And he's like, I have no idea. Like, I know I have to wear this. I'm like, okay, you guys have to wear that all the time. So what am I supposed to wear? And he was like, I don't know. I was like, okay, either you can go ask or I will show up in 30 minutes and cause a ruckus because you can't expect other families. At the time he was in a first sergeant position. So he was like, don't come in here and cause a ruckus. And I ruckus, I just would show up and be like, hey, I get 10 minutes of your time.
Yes. I need to know.
And so I'll go ask. And he came back, he goes, so it's more just like a hail and farewell. So it's like, okay. So I was like, we can just show up in sundresses or like church vests. And I was like, I would have been mortified if I had shown up in this totally full gown.
Yes.
Yeah. I probably wouldn't have been mortified. I'd been like, this is what happens when you don't put the right information on your invitations. So it will be the star of the show.
And that's you make a point, like your husband was in a leadership position, and something that I've had when my husband's in leadership positions, spouses come to me and say, what are we supposed to wear to this? And
because you're supposed to be presenting yourself in a not but a very similar state. Yes, we are not we did not sign on that dotted line. But when your husband or your service member is in a position where one, soldiers are looking up to him, two, they're also looking up to you. The amount of times I've walked in and everyone's like, Miss Brown's here.
Right.
Other things. And I'm like, please don't call me Miss Brown. But like, that's just military life.
Yes.
And so you have to present yourself. And I think that's so important to know proper etiquette. I don't think we learn etiquette very much anymore. I feel those who are turning 40 and up are probably the very last. Like, there are etiquettes to certain events.
Yeah.
This is when you can wear a tea-length drink. This is where you wear a floor gown. If you have a slit, you cover here. If this is low cut, you don't have a slit. There's just different things, and each their own. Everyone's like, what do you wear? And I'm like, I go very not conservative, but I don't go flashy. I go very simple. I don't want to be the person that's like standing out in the room at a military function. Any other function, go for it. If it's not military related, but I always.
Yeah, I was just going to say that's something that I've talked to some of my clients about, because I'm like, at the end of the day, remember, unless this is a like spouse appreciation event, it's not about you. If you're so in the Air Force, if you're like chief inductions or Airman Leadership School graduation or whatever dressy event you're going to, it's for those military members and to recognize them. And so if you do go super flashy or over the top, you are drawing attention to yourself, and it is not about you. It is about, if it's your spouse being recognized, it's about them. Yep. You do probably some amazing things as a spouse, but that's not what this is for. And I always want the attention to be on the person who we're celebrating or recognizing at the event, whether change of command, whatever it is. And the other thing is you don't want to be so flashy, but you also don't want to draw attention away by being dressed inappropriately, whether that's overly scandalous, super cut or whatever it is, or just being not dressy enough. And so you do want to strike that right balance and be mindful of the fact that it's not about you.
Yeah. And this is a professional set. Like any military event is still a professional setting. So like you have to keep that in mind. Style is one of those things where I'm like, absolutely have your style, showcase your personality through that. I think that's so important. And I think that's especially one way spouses can have kind of some control over their life is that way. But when it's a professional setting thing, okay, yeah, you have great legs. You wear mini skirts all the time. That's fantastic for you.
Yes.
That may not be an appropriate outfit to wear to a change of command. Now, I'm one of those where I'm like, dress for the weather. If it's hot, don't put yourself in a blazer in the beating sun. Like you can wear a dress, but again, make sure that it is tasteful for that event. And even if you feel like your service members, that looks fine. We all come from all walks of life. And I feel like, first off, men don't have very good taste or know what is proper etiquette. I'm not saying all men, because I know some men where I'm just like, oh, like they know what they're talking about. But other times it's just like they think you look great, but Sergeant Major be like, that's unacceptable for her to be wearing that to this event.
And they kind of lose that sense a lot of times. And they'll tell me, because I've worked with some active duty as well, and they're like, yeah, I think I used to know how to dress, but when you're told to wear every single day, pay attention to what's appropriate or what's in, because the answer is given to you. And so it's a muscle that you can lose.
Yes. And okay, so you were military, so you've been a military spouse and you're like, okay, I want to help military spouses. Why was that so important? What was about that you're like, I see a need for this with military spouses, other than like those special events? What else made you think, okay, they need some extra help in this arena?
There's several factors. One is, ultimately, my goal is for no military spouse to ever have to walk into a room again and feel insecure about how they're dressed, or to wonder, is this going to be appropriate for this? Doing some education and crossover with etiquette training and that kind of thing. I do think that's something that we've lost, and people mock it. We used to have these etiquette books for military spouses.
I know. I have one somewhere. Yes. It was my grandmother's, and I just remember going, it was like this thick, and I was like, did you read this? She goes, I've read it several times, because she used to do like all the different events, and I'm like, really? So I remember she'd take it, and I'm like, I'm never going to read this, but I remember I flipped through that going, okay, what's the proper etiquette for a 2:00 in the afternoon wedding? What type of dress do you wear for that? There's different things.
And that people knew what they meant, and they had those clothes in their closet. So that was one thing, is just in general, military spouses for the special events, but just also for everyday life. We move, we go to different cultures, we live in different states or countries. We are climates. There are different expectations based on where you live, or different needs that a lot of people don't deal with in their life. There's already transitions as your kids. When your kids are younger, you're probably not going to wear maybe a short of dresses or skirts, because your kids reach up underneath your dress, or they flash you for other people or whatever. And so you're conscious of that. Just same thing happens in military life. Your style sometimes needs to evolve, or your wardrobe needs to evolve a little bit based on where you're living or what job your spouse is in, or that kind of thing. And you want to be able to learn how to always represent who you are and not have to necessarily change that, but also do it in a way that's appropriate for your in life, for your spouse's job, for the climate, for the location, the culture that you're in, all of that. Because I've lived in the DC area, I've lived in California. Those are
it's very different,
worlds apart.
Yes, yes, so it's very different.
Yeah. And so that is my goal, is to help people understand. I have clients, they move and they're like, okay, now I'm living in Texas, where before I was living in Alaska.
Yeah, that was me. That was definitely me. So like when we lived in Alaska, I was working in a school system, so I was able to get away with wearing jeans and a t-shirt to work or leggings because I was moving around a bunch with kids. Then when I moved to Texas, it was from Alaska to Texas. So like pretty much everything in my wardrobe was just
out
the dark. Like but then I went into a very corporate job where I was working in an office and had to have business clothing, and that was a whole new thing. And of course, like shopping, I feel now that this was 9 years ago. So I don't feel like I had that big of an issue, but I feel now my biggest struggle is walking into Target and going, everything seems either professional business attire or very juvenile. I don't feel there's a lot of in between, at least in my perspective. And so now, even though like I'm stepping into new roles where I do feel like I need to add in some business attire or more business casual things because I'm speaking more often and I'm doing things that I wasn't doing. So leggings and t-shirts and a hoodie are just not going to cut it, because that is 100% has been my wardrobe for the last several years, because I've been working at home, stay-at-home mom. And this past year was when I had that epiphany of like, why am I yes, this is comfortable. Like I should be comfortable at home and things like that. But I'm like, I'm really tired of not being put together. Like I'm tired of just wearing yoga pants and a t-shirt, an oversized t-shirt or athletic shorts. There are days where I was like, I want to put together. This morning I woke up and I was like, oh, I'll just put leggings on. I was like, no, you are not putting leggings on today. You're putting on a pair of jeans. I have a jacket on right now because I'm freezing inside, but it's nice and warm. But I have a tank top on. I put a belt on. Obviously I have my hat on. I was like, I'm going to put a little bit more put together to go to homeschool group and not just show up in my tennis shoes, a Deployed Live t-shirt, and my leggings, which is 90% of the time. And I feel so much better about it.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's so much psychology behind it, and studies have been done on it. It's called they coined a term called Enclothed Cognition. So how you dress, not only does it affect how people view you, and I understand people are like, it doesn't matter what other people think of me and all that stuff. True to an extent, until you're representing your spouse at an event or you're trying to get a job in a new location, and then what other people think about how you're dressed matters 100%, because they have the power to hire you or not, or that kind of thing. But more than that, it affects how you feel about yourself and how you perform your tasks. And there is science to show that when you dress in a way that you perceive is nicer or more professional, you show up better and perform better for tasks. And they did a study and they gave everybody the same white kind of lab coat, told half the people that it was a painter's coat and half the people that it was a doctor's coat, and they gave them tasks to do. And the people who thought they were in a doctor's coat performed better, and they had higher expectations for themselves than the people who were wearing what they thought was a painter's coat. And so many other studies that show like the way our brains work for ourselves and for how we view other people in clothes matters. And it affects us.
It's so hard, and it's so bad to say this because I know I've judged people based off of how they're dressed, and I'll catch myself going, this is not okay. Like, why am I like looking at her outfit and being like, ooh, that doesn't look good on her. That doesn't seem like that's the right fit. But then thinking about like my outfits and stuff like that, I'm like, there are times where I'm like, I don't think this looks good on me, but then everyone's got looks phenomenal on you. And I'm like, what makes me look like I'm wearing a potato sack? But, so I definitely feel like I'm always like, wear what makes you feel confident and encouraging. Like I apparently have an hourglass shape, which I've always thought I was very square, but apparently I'm not. And so I also don't like my midsection. So I've always worn like oversized like shirts and things that kind of come down to hit my like lower hip area to cover my midsection. And after we did a podcast, I believe it was last year or the year before, where we did another kind of like styling for body type episode. And she's like, you should be wearing things that highlight your waist. And I'm like, but I want to hide that. I'm very self-conscious about this. And today, like I said, I have a cropped like tank on with high waist jeans. I will always wear high waist jeans. If they ever go out of style, it does not matter. I I've had 2 kids. Those are forever my friend. I will never be able to wear low hip jeans.
I'm hopeful that we've seen for a while now that every cut and style of jean and pant has
Is in
been in
style.
the store. And I'm hoping that stays because like high-waisted for one person is not high-waisted on another person, not flattering on another person. And I really hope that we're able to keep all of those fits and cuts around so that everybody can find what works best for their body, because
Yes.
it really is, we're all different, and so we all need different
heights
clothes.
and sizes and all the
Absolutely.
different things. But I also feel like style is a really big thing. Like I remember growing up, I was a very Abercrombie, Hollister, American Eagle girl. Like I was wearing the ripped jeans and the California tees and the shell necklace. And then the other side of me was very sporty. So then I was wearing like athletic clothes and tennis shoes and baseball hats. Like that was like my style. And I think when we moved so often, because I grew up military and then went to college and then married my husband. So there was just that time between college where I wasn't in the military. And that was only for 2 years because then I went back to Fort Bragg. So like for 2 years, I had a break of military life. But I feel like one of my problems in style has been where I've moved so often. Yeah, when I'm reinventing or finding my style, I'm not even finding my style or like what fits me. I'm just in survival mode. And okay, so I now have this job, so I have to have these type of clothes. And then I have this job, so I have to have these type of clothes. And then there's no room for expansion on that because I'm already spending all of my money on clothing that I have to have, and then I'm just getting what I can. Like I remember did not hate such a strong word, but I definitely did not like my business. I think this is the only jacket that I ever kept from any of my business things, and it's because it's lightweight.
Yeah.
And it was, and I was like, this is perfect for southern weather.
Sure.
But having to change that wardrobe so often, it left me in that like state of, I don't know what my style is. I don't know what I like to wear. I know what I like to wear as a teenager.
Right.
I know what I'm drawn to, but things that I'm drawn to, I've been following several stylists on social media for the last couple of years. Like when I decided that I wanted to find my style, where did I want to go? What do I want to look like? What will look good? And I'm like, I don't even know like what to put together to make it look good. I started following different individuals, and there's a military spouse who's got a huge following. She does a lot of styling content on TikTok and Instagram. And I'm like, I love her style. I love it so much. And I've always been drawn to that bohemian like type of style. But every time I put it on, it does nothing for me. It's usually oversized things. I love the coloring and the textures and the how soft and feminine it can be, but also like super quirky and fun. This is, I don't ever wear. If you're watching this, I'm pointing to my hat. It has cheetah print on it. And I've always, I don't like that. But then I'm like, but adding a little papa thing into it just completely changed my entire outfit. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, let's start thinking about how I can do that, because boho style, as much as I love it, I feel like everything's oversized. So then I was like, maybe that's why I feel like it's not working for me, because it's not doing anything for my shape and it makes me seem larger than I am.
Right.
And that's not the case. And I've been gravitating more towards that like shabby chic or chic and classic, whatever the case may be. But I feel like I still don't know what I am. Like I still don't know what I'm drawn to. I typically, I'm just like, okay, I'm just gonna do a plain t-shirt and a pair of jeans. Like,
so I think and that's something that I work with my clients before we do anything else, is we determine what's your style. Let's define your style. And I talk about it like we'll literally define it, come up with words that define how they want to look. And I give them like, here are some options. You can pick any word, but we're going to come up with 3 or 4 words that create like that are like the pillars for the foundation of your style to be built on.
I love that.
So that if you do love the bohemian romantic look, how can we replicate that in like pieces that are also flattering for you and for your body shape? And I always start out with define your style and let's figure out your body shape and talk about tips that like, what are the different cuts and fits that are going to work for you. What are the places that you don't want attention, and where do you want attention? What's something on your body? Like, do you love your eyes or your smile or your arms or whatever it is, so that we can point people's eyes towards those things that make you feel more confident. And so that's where I always start with my clients, because if you don't feel comfortable and confident in what you're wearing, it shows in your
It
face,
does.
shows in how you carry yourself, and just all day you're mentally distracted by the fact that you are unhappy with what you're wearing. And that is really, it's such a miserable feeling. And so to be able to put your clothes on, and unless somebody compliments you, you don't think twice about it the rest of the day, or you
Yeah.
catch yourself in the mirror and you're like, oh yeah, I like that. That's a good
I
outfit.
know.
That's such a great feeling. But otherwise, it's so nice to be able to get dressed and be done for the day. And one of my tips I would say is try things, try something on. I know that so many of my clients, they say now, they're like, I just don't like shopping in stores. Something
Yeah.
like COVID really did a number on people with that. And I know it's very overwhelming to go into a store and see all this stuff. But quite frankly, there are more options with online shopping. That is even more overwhelming because they don't have all of that inventory in a store. Go to a store if you're able to, pick some things maybe a little bit outside of your realm and try them on and see. Even if you don't like them, you're going to gain some data points from that. You're going to be helpful. And more often than not, I'll pick something that people are like, I don't know, it's not what I would typically gravitate towards, but I'll try it on because it's free to try things on. And by the end of it, they're like, oh my gosh, I love this. This is the thing that I never would have picked up. So
I love that mentality.
yeah, so try something on in the store. Just give yourself, set aside some hours to go and shop, go in person shopping, and maybe break out of your box a little bit. You may find out, like, because some people are like, I just feel like I've just always dressed the same my whole life and I need to change. You may find out, you know what, I don't need to change because I'm not dressing that way just because I'm stuck in a rut, but it's because I really do like it.
Do into it.
That's
Yeah.
great. That's great information to have as well, because then you can be confident knowing, like, yep, I'm a like solids and stripes kind of girl, or I like really funky patterns and bright colors, or whatever it is. But you have that knowledge now, and you can feel confident that you're not stuck in a rut, or that you like more things than what you thought you did.
Yeah, I think that like why not mentality of just why not try something new
Yeah.
can open so many doors. Like I've been preaching that for the last several weeks of just taking that kind of leap of faith and saying, okay, I'll try it. Just I'll
Right.
try it. And if it doesn't fit, if it doesn't work, it doesn't do it. I know I personally don't like shopping online because I like to try on clothes, because if I'm investing in something or if I'm purchasing something, I want to make sure it fits. Yes, I can send it back. But again, we're
pain.
military spouses. We don't have time, especially if you're in a location where the post office or the FedEx or the UPS are just so far away. And I'm just like, oh, but they'll pick it up. Not my house that they
Not
don't. Like I
always,
have
no.
to physically drop them off at any of those locations. And so it's just another thing that I'm adding to my plate. So I typically will only purchase something online if it has like outstanding reviews of it fits well, everything like that. If you're a big chested girl, it fits well. I look at reviews before I purchase something online.
Right.
I have to do that because I definitely feel in American society or American like apparel, things fit differently no matter what size they are. So
Yeah.
all the different things. But I went shopping the other day for the fest that I went to, and it was I hate shopping because I always like, oh, nothing fits. I went shopping because I'm on a weight loss journey for those that have been following us. And all the larges were too big. And I was like, ah! I was like, oh my gosh. Like I was so excited. And then I was like, okay. And now I had and I was trying mediums on, and I was going down in sizes and stuff like that. And I was finding like my only frustration is like finding things that I was still in between sizes on some things. So some things were too big. Yeah, I could wear them, but like how much wear will I actually get out of this if I continue to lose weight? But then some things were too small. So like I'm wearing a pair of jeans where I absolutely love them standing up, but they're a little, they don't have a lot of stretch in them. So sitting down, I'm like, okay, these are not the most comfortable pants to be sitting in all day long, but I feel so confident in them. And I was like, okay, we're going to take these home because I love how they look. I love how they're holding everything in. I love the shape and the cut and everything like that. And I was like, but I was like, oh my gosh, like everything I purchased was a medium. And I was like, I was just tickled. I was like, this is so exciting. And I think that was like a boost I needed, because I was like, I don't feel like the scale is dropping. And we talk about that. Like, don't go by scale, go by measurements and things like that. But I still see this. I was back up to my pregnancy weight, and I was just like definitely not confident in anything, even in like oversized t-shirts and stuff like that. But I wore biker shorts and an oversized t-shirt the other day, and I was like, I don't look like I'm wearing a potato sack. Like, even though I'm still like in athletic wear because I was renovating my kitchen, I was like, I still felt a little bit better about what I was wearing, because one, I felt like they were fitting me better and it didn't make me look bigger. And I think that's a lot of spouses why they typically will just be like, I don't feel confident. I don't feel I put together because all I'm doing is chasing a toddler all day.
Right.
Or I don't work and I don't go out of the house. So like, why should I be put together? But as someone who said that for so long and who has started to make a little bit more intention behind what I'm doing for the day, even if it's just like fixing my hair, even though I'm going nowhere, like I'm still going to straighten it or curl it or blow it out or whatever the case may be, I'm still feeling like I took some time for myself, because at the end of the day, that's what it is. You're taking time, some self-care, some self-love at the end of the day to give back to yourself when you put so much into your spouse's career, your kids, if you have your kids, if you volunteer and all the different things. So taking time to just stop and reflect and be like, okay, who am I? What do I like? But I think that why not is something that I will be hammering into everyone's head for the near future, because that why not has led me to the podcast. That's why we have the podcast, was literally why not? Like, we should totally have a podcast where we get to interview other amazing military spouses and resources to share with the military community. That's what led me to Deployed Love. That's what led me to Military Spouse of the Year. And I think that's what leads a lot of military spouses, is they're like, I got nothing else to lose. What else could happen? Let me just try something new. And having that sense of style can make you feel more confident to take that brave step.
Absolutely. And you know, and being a military spouse, I hear so many spouses feel like they get lost in the mix of everything, with their spouse's career and stuff. I've never felt that way. I'm thankful for that, but I understand that people have that feeling. And so being confident in your style and knowing what you love and being able to express yourself no matter where you go, because your style, like the way you look, speaks for you before you can open your mouth. If you don't ever get to have a conversation, somebody's going to get a sense about who you are based on how you present yourself physically. Not just your clothes or your hair or your makeup or whatever it is, but also how you carry yourself and that kind of thing. So it's a way for you to always be yourself and present yourself no matter the situation, and whether you're just shaking somebody's hand in a receiving line, or you are speaking in front of a group of people, or meeting spouses who need a mentor, whatever it is, you're able to tell people who you are.
Yeah. I think that's so important. And I think that's, especially if that's something you're wanting to portray. If you're wanting to portray that you're open for conversation, or you're open to be that mentor, you're not forced or voluntold to be at this event, portraying yourself in that manner is going to make that person, because I've always gravitated, and again, like, it's so wrong, but I've always gravitated towards someone who's dressed nicely, presenting themselves like warmly to whoever they're interacting with. Where if someone's in leggings and a t-shirt and a hair in a messy bun, and I'm not saying that's wrong, guys, because there are so many days where my hair is in a messy bun and I'm in leggings and a t-shirt still. Like, it happens. We're busy moms.
Absolutely.
There's solo parenting right now. I was covered in paint and my nails. Like, if you look at my nails, y'all, this is not put together. And I'm like, I got to get these done, but these may not get done for a while. But at the end of the day, we still do what we have to do to make it to the next day.
Right.
But if you have that opportunity to, or if you want that opportunity to be like, I don't want to be in this rut anymore. I want to feel like me again. Because I do feel like, especially for moms, because we're constantly moving, having to start over everywhere we go. So new house, new things that we like, readjustments for yourself, your kids, and all the things. Like it's just this reoccurring cycle over and over again. And we do get lost in the shuffle.
Yeah.
We do get a sense of whether that is like, I'm not important, so I'm not going to treat myself or dress myself that way. And we have to get out of that rut.
Yeah.
We have to take that, no, like I am important and I am worthy of being seen because we see you, we hear you. But taking that time to say, no, I have to take time for myself. Like self-care is so important. And if that comes through style, if that comes through like, I'm going to go get my nails done once a month or my hair is regularly scheduled, making sure you take those moments to keep you and not get lost in the shuffle is so important. And so I think style is one of those ways. And I think I had one more question for you. Oh, okay. Let's go back to some practical styling tips. So let's talk about, so for military spouses, because we do transition so much. If someone was listening and they were like, okay, can you give me like 3 to 5 pieces that I should absolutely have in my wardrobe? So last time we recorded this, we talked a lot about capsules, guys, because that's what I've been looking into. What are some things that I could have in my wardrobe that I can utilize in several different ways? So I can dress it up, dress it down. I can wear it to a soccer game, but I can also wear it to a PTA meeting, or I can wear it to a Helen farewell, or whatever the case may be. What are your like top suggestions on what spouses should be looking for? I'm also going to throw in there, what are some of your favorite stores to purchase some of these items? So I know I've always been kind of person, like I'm a huge thrifter. So I typically thrift a lot, but I'm starting to get to the point where like I love my thrift finds. Don't get me wrong. But I think I feel like I just thrift and buy and buy. We talked about this last time we recorded too. So I may try to clip some of that, guys, for you guys to get some of that information that's salvageable, but a lot of it wasn't salvageable. We talked about how we're military spouses, so we move a lot and we have a lot of things and we don't want to have big wardrobes and stuff like that. And if you have a big wardrobe, good for you. If you don't, that's okay too. But I know for me, like I'm trying to get to the point where I'm not thrifting as much because, and I feel like I just have unnecessary things that may not be in the best, not quality, good quality. They're older, they're used, they could be dingy, they could have slight stains, things like that. Is it better to go over quality? Is it better to pay for things that are a little bit more expensive that are going to last longer? So let's dive into those little tips and tricks.
Yes. Okay. So starting with the like capsule base pieces that would be good for everybody or most people to have. I think it's smart. I know there are a few non-dress wearers out there and that's fine. But I would say for the most part, having a dress that is versatile, that can be worn to change of command or a promotion ceremony, or even some kind of like memorial service or a nice something that can be a flexible use dress is really great to have, because honestly, you just never know. This life has presented me with so many opportunities at the last minute to meet somebody or to go somewhere, and you want to have that dress on hand for those kinds of things. And then I would say along with that would be like a nice pair of shoes, whether you like flats or a kitten heel or whatever it is, but something, if you need to dress a little bit nicer, then you can do that. Other shoes, I would say, is having a great pair of cute sneakers that might even work with the dress, but you can, when you want to dress your things down a little bit and I'm very much a sneaker girl. And then
I'm the same way. I cannot wear heels for the life of me. If you catch me wearing heels, it will be off in 30 minutes. I promise you. I'll be walking barefoot.
Same. By the time I get to the car, they're like, as soon as that door closes, they're off. And then I would say, so some great fitting pants. It can be jeans if you're a jeans person, or if you like chinos or slacks or whatever, but some pants that fit you really well, because fit is king, like you were talking about earlier. Nothing makes you feel better than clothes that fit great, and nothing makes you feel worse than clothes that don't. So some really great fitting pants, a top, I would say a blouse, but not necessarily like dressy. Like I'm wearing a button down shirt from J. Crew outlet today, something like that. You roll the sleeves up, or if you want to be more
I know.
casual.
Just rolling up the sleeves, guys, just can drastically change your entire outfit from like meh to
style too.
yes. Yeah.
It makes your outfit look your style. You've styled it. It's intentional instead of just put this on. Yeah. Some kind of blouse or shirt, and then a blazer is fantastic because you can wear it over that dress. You can wear it with the jeans, whatever, that kind of thing. So I would say like a blazer and a blouse, some great fitting pants, sneakers, some nice shoes, and then a versatile dress. That would be like, if I have a last minute weekend getaway, those are the things that
those are the things you're grabbing.
I'm grabbing and throwing in my overnight bag. And then, okay, so thrifting. I've recently started thrifting myself, and I do enjoy it. I view it like shopping at someplace like TJ Maxx or something, where sometimes time is money and some money is time. If you have the time to browse and look carefully through the things and find something that you love, will wear, works with other things, can wear because you have other things in your wardrobe to wear it with, and it's in your budget, great. Do that. Sometimes I have a day where I'm like, I have nothing. I'm going to go see what they have at the Goodwill. And I'll find like a great coat or a sweater or something like that, and wonderful find. But nothing worse than going to a store, like a discount store like a TJ Maxx or to a Goodwill or something, and you really don't have time and you spend it anyway, and then you walk away with nothing and you're frustrated that you're like, for my other thing. Or you buy something because you took the time to go and you feel obligated to spend money. And this happens at regular, like at the mall too. People feel like, I can't walk away empty handed. I spent all this time. It's a waste of time and money in that situation, because now you spent the time and you bought something that you don't love, that you won't wear, and it's just going to hang in your closet. And then I call that guilt on a hanger. All experience.
I'm guilty of it. I think we're all kind of guilty of it, but
absolutely. You have guilt on a hanger and it's in there and it's mocking you, but you're still not going to wear it or you do, and then you regret it all day because you felt.
So I think mine is I'll purchase something and I love it, but then as soon as I wash it, I'm like, I don't like it anymore. Like
really?
It like shrunk a little bit, or the material is just one of those, like I'm realizing that like it gets wrinkled really fast.
Yeah.
And so I won't reach for it as often. If I know, okay, I'm going to be in this all day. If I put this on, it's going to be really wrinkly and I'm just going to look frazzled.
Yeah.
I don't want to be Miss Frizzle. Love her, but I don't want to be her throughout the day. So I think that that's always been my thing. So I've been like, again, like just a little bit more intentional, like looking at what the material of the item, and I love this, but I'm like, is this going to be something that I'm going to have to iron every single time I get it out of, I wash it? Again, because my thought is convenience is a huge thing for me, because we are so busy. We're on the constant go. If I have to make a mess to put it on and then have to clean up something, I'm likely not to do it. Now, granted, like my blazer, some things I have that I'll be like, okay, I'm going to iron all of these at the one time and then hang them up. But if I'm doing that for all my clothes, it's not necessarily something I want to do.
Yeah.
I think having that, knowing those things, I think helps you shop as well.
Yeah. Being mindful of that. Are you willing to spend the time? Some people are. Like, I find it very therapeutic. My mom used to iron. I would like save up all my ironing for when she came to visit.
Oh, I love that.
She would we would watch like reruns of Law and Order, and she would stand there and iron all my clothes. And now that she's passed away, I don't have my mom to iron my clothes for me once every few months anymore. So now I'm like, okay, am I actually going to do this? But I do the same thing. I'll turn on an old movie or something and stand there and do all my ironing. But do I want all my clothes to need ironing? No. Now, a steamer is definitely
I love my steamer.
A good thing, or even like fabric spray and toss it in the dryer real quickly or whatever. But yeah, we live and learn. There are some things, even I'll read reviews and people are like, oh, these pants are great or whatever. I got these pants at Talbot's, so cute, and they wrinkle like the Dickens. And so they're
Yep.
my special situation pants now. They're like red. I'm like, I guess those are just the red holiday pants now.
I think like having that information, and I think also like for me, like also like I have to try things on too, because I picked up like probably 5 things at Target the other day. I was like, oh my God, these are so cute. But then as soon as I stuck them on, I was like, ooh, I don't like these. I don't like the texture. I don't like the feel. But it felt different on my fingers than it did like across my whole body.
Yeah.
And so I think knowing those things and knowing that if you are because I am a texture person, like if I don't like the way it feels on my skin, I will not wear it. And even if I'm like, oh, isn't that bad? Maybe it'll get better when it washes. I've gone to the point where no, if I do not like it in store on my skin, I'm not going to get it anymore.
Yeah.
And if I'm in a store where I can't even try something on, and unless it's like a thrift store where I'm like, okay, if it's $2 and I get it home and I don't like it, I'll donate it or I'll gift it to someone else or my friends or something. When it's $30, $40, I'm like, I'm not going to spend something or more. I'm not going to spend something on something that much. And so you have to know those things before you go shopping as well.
And then as far as stores, really it depends on people's style, because I can say like I'm a Loft and Taylor J. Crew kind of person, and that work for everybody.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of people, when I do like discovery calls with potential clients, they're like, you're cute, but I don't want to look like you. So I just want to make sure that you're not going to just reinvent yourself with me. And I tell them, no, I spend time talking to you to find out what you really like, because that's something my mom did a really good job of teaching me, is not everybody has the same style. Sometimes it crosses over and you like the same thing, but everybody's unique. It's like you can go into a nice hotel or to somebody else's house and you can love the way it's decorated, but it doesn't mean you need to come that way because it doesn't work for you. And I can say like, your house is beautiful. I'm not going to come home and put all white couches in my house. I have 3 boys, or that's not going to work for our family. So it depends on where you like to shop. But one tip for kind of consistency is figuring out who carries the clothes that you like and consistently going back. Not that you can't branch out and try other things, you absolutely should, but especially like within a season, if you're looking for like a capsule wardrobe, stores come out with everything's like in a color palette. While yes, there's colors of the year and it's consistent across style to an extent, some places you'll see are like last season we saw some stores were really heavy with like yellow, and then some really heavy with green. And so you want to find obviously the color palette that works for you, that you love and works with the wardrobe that you already have. But then they'll have their clothes will work together. They're already color coordinated and style coordinated because it's consistent from their designers. And so if you are like J. Crew lover, then like Banana Republic is a good place to kind of branch out. But if you are somebody who likes a little bit more of a funky style, then you're gonna want to probably stay away from like J. Crew and a Banana Republic and an Ann Taylor, and you're gonna go for maybe Express or even Aeropostale or things like that, and find things that work for you and your lifestyle and your personality. So you want to just find what you like. And that's where working with somebody like me comes in, because I can help you figure that out, help you narrow that down.
I think that's, again, so important to know, like those stores, your color palette. The whole like color analysis thing just is so interesting to me. I think I've done it like 2 times. And I'm always, is that really my color? But I feel like virtual ones are so weird, which I think is why I did it.
Are terrible. And so lighting is very important. Cameras, like computer and phone cameras, obviously they adjust for the lighting, so they can't be really accurate, and it's subjective. Everybody sees color differently. Women see more colors than men see, all of that. So that's when I did my color analysis training, that's why I chose custom color analysis, because it's not predetermined seasons. Everybody gets a unique color palette.
Oh, see, I love that.
Yeah. And so I can do it virtually, but there's a lot of like questions and stuff that I go in depth, but I also, even in person, I ask questions and we talk about what kind of colors do you get a lot of compliments when you're wearing that kind of thing? What colors are you drawn to? Because people tend to be, not always, but tend to be drawn to colors that are more flattering on them.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. Because there's some things, I had a client, she was like, yellow makes me look sickly. Don't even look at the yellows.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, great. Because even if it didn't actually make her look sickly, she's never
That's what she felt.
so
Yeah.
why would I put it in her palette?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why I love doing custom color analysis, because it's unique to you. We're all unique. We all have unique skin color, hair color, all of that.
Eye color, everything's different.
Yep.
I get frustrated with the color stuff because I have a few colors that I absolutely love, but those colors are typically like either only in like formal wear or they're like very juvenile looking. And I was like, I just want my corals and teals. Like this is green, but it's showing like different color, like army green color, but showing different on the screen. But I always get the most compliments when I wear like that true like jewel color, like jewel tone colors.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's either just like a t-shirt, like a comfort color t-shirt, or like it's always like the formal wear. And I never can just find like somewhat casual clothing. I'm hoping I can see more jewels. I'm hoping like jewel stuff, more jewel tone comes out this summer. But I've been seeing gold and yellow.
Yeah, I think it's definitely doable. And there are some colors that are definitely harder to find. And one really good way to incorporate them year round into your wardrobe is like accessories, just jewelry, but find a great purse in one of those colors that kind of complements the rest of your wardrobe, or some shoes. I love a statement shoe. That's always a fun way to do it. And there's so many fun sneakers out right now with such a fun way, like a jewel tone, like a teal or magenta or something would be a really fun sneaker.
I love that. I love like the fun sneaker idea. Someone was wearing really fun sneakers with their outfit for the Mill Spouse Fest at Fort Benning. And I was like, that was a good choice. Like just you're wearing jeans and a t-shirt, but those sneakers just made that whole outfit like a completely different outfit. And yeah, I think that's just a fun way to do like shoes and accessories and stuff.
Absolutely.
So as we're wrapping up, what would be one advice, or what advice would you give to a brand new military spouse coming in who is, I want to portray myself as like a good military spouse? That was so hard for me to say, guys. Sorry, that's why I stumbled. It's such a weird thing for me to say because you're all phenomenal military spouses in whatever avenue you do, whether you're working or not working, whatever the case may be. But if you had a new military spouse who's coming in and was just like, hey, like, I'm entering this new role as a military spouse. I am in the workforce or I'm not in the workforce. What would be, as a military spouse yourself, but also like on this journey of helping military spouses feel confident, what would be one piece of advice? And it doesn't necessarily have to be for a new spouse, but just to a spouse in general. Because I feel like my note says brand new, but I feel like anyone could use the advice.
Yeah. So, well, of course, follow me on social media. But I would say, so really just a general like trick, and it's like the kind of the Ralph Lauren style tip is wear a third piece to complete an outfit. His employees are always required to wear a third piece, whether it's like something over your shoulders or a vest or a sweater with a shirt underneath, a blazer, whatever it is. That is such an easy way to elevate your look. So when you're going to something, it adds dimension and intentionality to your look on a kind of, I don't want to say less practical, but that's like a super practical tip. I would say find somebody who can be a mentor, somebody who's a little bit more experienced than you, that you can go to with those questions. Yep. Because when you go, if you want
like a trusted source, like I feel like that's so important, because yes, you can go to a spouse group, but again, if you have any type of confidence issue, going to a spouse group, especially a group that has no rules or regulations on kindness,
they can be tricky. They can be
tricky. So having that person who you can just be like, hey, like we have this event, which if you're listening, you can always come to any of the Deployed Love team, because most of us are seasoned spouses. We've been spouses for 15 plus years. or grew up military. So we do have that. We're not experts. Like I never, even as someone who's been in this community for over 35 years, I do not say I'm an expert, but I do have an extensive amount of knowledge and information about this lifestyle. And if I don't know the answer, I at least have
resources,
other seasoned spouses in my community that I'm like, hey, you've been to this type of event. Because I feel like it's different for each branch too. That's important to say. Every branch is different. So if you're a Marine or an Air Force, Navy spouse, I may not know the protocol for your events. I could tell you all day long. Like I said earlier, I think it really depends on who is planning the event, because you have this young lieutenant who's planning it and they have no clue what they're doing. And so again, like it's all like things that you have to ask questions. It's that why not? What are you going to do? But having that, I think you're right. Like having that seasoned spouse or that person that you can ask those questions.
Yeah. And I know it can feel intimidating as a young spouse, but when you go to a change of command or a promotion or something and you meet somebody who is more experienced, you can ask them, especially if they offer, but say, do you mind if we exchange information? I just might have some about what to wear or whatever. They'll probably say, oh yeah, absolutely. If they say no or they don't respond, you don't want them to be your mentor anymore.
No, you don't want them in your corner whatsoever. I think as seasoned spouses, like we should be that like bridge for incoming spouses. Because I think that's something like that etiquette book that we no longer, not saying there aren't people that do it, because there are phenomenal spouses out there that do it. But I remember that was like when we were at the Mill Spouse Fest this past week, that was one of the things that I kept on telling. I was like, hey, like, how long have you been here at Fort Benning? They're like, oh, we just got here. So first duty station, I'm like first, you guys just got married. They're like, yeah. And I was like, okay, my inbox is open. My number is on that card. Call me, text me, send me an email, whatever the case may be. If you have any questions, I'm here to support you. Yeah. Because as a young military spouse, I wish I had that. I wish I had someone who say, my inbox, my email, my message is open. Obviously, don't text me at 2:00 in the morning with spouse issues. Don't do that. There are resources for that. But if you're like, hey, I'm really struggling with this and I don't know if this is normal or not normal, because again, it's military life, guys. I could say it's not normal, but it could be the new normal. Like, it's a constant rotation of new for the military community. And so I'm learning something new every single day as a military spouse. Things our new military spouses are going through are very different from what we went through. Even through just basic training. Like basic training is so different from when my spouse went through basic training. And so I feel like having more than one, if you can only have one, but build that connection, build that network. If you're a new military spouse and you know your service member is going to make this a career, dig in deep, girls.
Absolutely.
Boys, like whoever it is, dig in deep, create that network, start reaching out to those people. Even if you're just on an installation, start making a network with the spouse association. Yeah. Every installation has some form of a spouse association from my knowledge. Don't come at me if I'm wrong, but I feel like most installations have some type of something.
So we actually at Dover Air Force Base, we don't have
Dover doesn't? I'm actually so shocked about that.
So they just didn't have enough participation and it got closed down a couple years ago, like right before.
See, now that is, again.
Now we are working on a spouse space here on the base. We're in the process of working on that. But what I posted about this,
if you don't utilize the resources, they're going to go away, friends. You have to use the resources that are out there, or they will go away.
Yes, and then you're going to complain that you don't have them available. So,
exactly.
So
use that. They're there.
But we do have an MFRC, Military and Family Readiness Center, and we do have a key support liaison program on base. And what I said the other day on LinkedIn was, look, right now is the time. It's not just building a network, but build some in-person community. They don't have to be your best friends forever. They can be your right now friend. I've had several right now friends that there's no ill will. We didn't have a falling out. There's
different levels of friendship.
Our lives lined up at the time, and we had kids the same age, and our spouses were deployed at the same time on the same rotation. And so we got together at the end of the day and let the kids play and had dinner, so we weren't by ourselves every evening. We don't keep in touch.
And that's important.
And that's fine. But I knew.
And it's okay to outgrow those friendships too when you're no longer in the same season. And I think some people stay in friendships when they've outgrown that friendship. And it's
Yeah.
not that you can't be friends, but for me, I feel like there's different levels of friendship. There are like, I see you as family. I will live and die. I will 100% be your like ride or die.
Right.
But then there's also friendships where I'm like, hey, I'm here. You want to have coffee? You want to go shopping? You need me to watch your kid? Absolutely.
Yes.
And then there's other people where I'm like, it's just a friendly, cordial, hey, how was your week? How are you doing? Oh, let's go have coffee. But then that's the extent of it. And that's okay.
That's okay. But you need somebody who, like, when my mom called to tell me that she'd been diagnosed with breast cancer, I immediately walked next door my neighbor didn't ask any questions. And I was like, I need to go see my husband at work. Can I leave my kids with you? And she's like, yep. And I drove, and because I didn't want to tell my husband over the phone. Like to have that, or when I was having a miscarriage, a neighbor across the street get up in the middle of the night and drive me to the emergency room. Like, they don't have to be your forever friends. One of those is, and one of those is not now, but that's okay. But take some cookies over and introduce yourself and say, hey, let's exchange phone numbers, and in case you need anything, please reach out.
But I feel like most are going to be so opening and welcoming to that, especially just like a neighbor aspect. Hey, like, my name is Ashley. I just moved in. I have 2 kids, so whatever the case may be, a little bit of information so that they know what you're going through. Jeremy made it when we first moved in here. Our neighbors are much older than us. Like, they're like our grandparents' age, but he made it a point to say, hey, I will not be here. So if you see something, please go check on my wife and my kids, because I will not be I won't even be in country. And they're like, not a problem. Because both of them are prior service. Like, we got them. And I don't see them. Like, we wave across from the driveways and we go about our days. But I know that if there wasn't a true emergency, I could call my neighbor, or I could or the kids can walk across the street and ask for help. And that's important because we took that time to go introduce ourselves and that kind of stuff. I got so excited. I actually met a spouse in my neighborhood at the fest the other day, and I literally jumped and squealed. And
that's so fun.
I was so excited because I was like, I haven't met another person in the neighborhood that's going through similar things as me, like, who's closer to my age and going active duty and things like that. And so that was instantly like, oh my God, it was like a relief. Oh, like I'm not alone. And I feel like when you have that sense of not even found family, because I feel like just having there's so many people where I felt like these are found family from years ago that I don't talk to. We're friends on Facebook. We might like and comment things. If they called me and say, hey, I have an emergency, absolutely, I will be there. But we're busy and things like that. As long as you like have that communication, you're having those conversations with your network, what fits you guys. I think that's so important. And having a network, and that's what we preach over on Deployed Love, is so important. That's why we have our programs in place, and we're here to help you build that if you need it. I'm watching one of the spouses that I've made friends with at Deployed Love, and I literally told her the other day, I was like, thank you for being my friend. Yeah. I know you only talk to me because you come to the Deployed Love events and I'm the executive director, but we've actually made a friendship. We spent Valentine's Day together. I texted her and I was like, hey, I don't want to cook. I'm going to go get Mexican. Do you want to go have Mexican? And she's, hell yes, I do. So we took the kids and we went and had Mexican for Valentine's Day. And I was like,
I love it.
Thank you so much for going with me, because I didn't want to sit at home, and the kids wanted to go out, but I didn't want to drive all the way to town. And so it worked out great. And then she's, hey, I have a meeting tonight and I don't think my husband's going to be home in time. I was like, bring him over. That's right. He can come hang out with us. He'll be totally fine. It's not a big deal. I will be here. It's not like I'm going to have to drop what I'm doing to watch him. And I think having those friends who you can be like, hey, I need this. Are you available? Absolutely.
And it can be somebody, like, it can be a command spouse. It can be whatever, somebody who's much more seasoned, experienced, but it doesn't have to be. When we got here 20 years ago, this was our first duty station, and my neighbors took me under their wing, and they had been here for about a year already. So they were already used to, because it was like 2003. So they were already used to all the missions and the craziness of everything with Iraq and all that. And so they took me under their wing. We are still super close friends. There are a couple of them that I still text with pretty much every day in that group. And they were the ones that I could go to and say, what do we wear to this? What do we wear to a change of command? What do we wear to a promotion? What do we wear to retirement? All of that kind of stuff. And they took me under their wing and guided me along. I also was able to form a relationship with the squadron commander's wife, and she and I still keep in touch today. And she taught me so much about things from her perspective. And she had been a military spouse in the 90s when they dealt with Iraq the first time. And so she had a lot different perspective and experience, but you learn so much. But it can be somebody who's much older than you, but it doesn't have to be.
But I feel like having that mindset, because I think that's one of like my biggest pet peeves is like when I see posts of I don't have kids and I only want to make friends with non-spouses that don't have kids. I'm like, I want to be friends. I just want to be friends with everyone. And I think it's so funny because some of my nearest and dearest friends are 10 years younger than me.
Yes.
Or 10 years older than me. Like I really don't have a ton of friends that are the same age as me.
And I think there's so much to be learned from from different generations. Like,
yes,
older spouses, I'm going to put myself in that category. Older spouses, younger spouses are having a different experience. I had to deal with the 24-hour news cycle, but I didn't have to deal with social media for the first 3 years of his active duty time. And so they're dealing with a whole other
component that wasn't out there. Yeah.
That we didn't have to deal with. And so to understand, what do you guys need? How can we help you process this and deal with this and help us understand what the issues are there?
Well, and it's not a competition.
No,
I think like the comparing, because like that's the other thing. I'm like, you guys have it lucky. Like when my husband deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan in the 2000s. So that was before social media was really, I remember getting like Facebook, because like you had to be in college. Like you had to be in college to have Facebook. And my husband didn't even get social media until like years later. So my husband didn't even have social media for the longest time.
Mine still doesn't.
Yeah, I think my husband ended up getting it because he was on recruiting duty. So he had to have a platform. I think that's when he actually got Facebook or Instagram I don't know. He got Instagram or something then, but he only had one platform. But and even now, like he barely uses it. He doesn't really post anything on it. It's just there. When he was deployed, like we were using Skype, it was email, it was that phone call.
As much as I'm like the USO library to use one of their
missing those phone calls were actually like traumatic. It's not, he can just hop on his tablet at the end of the night and do whatever he wants to do. And that's not the case for everybody, because there are some deployments, and I think that's really prevalent right now, is that every deployment is different.
Yes.
Every journey is different.
Yes.
Every cycle is different, everybody. They may say absolutely no personal. The last 2 times my husband rapidly deployed, there were no personal devices, no computers, no tablets, no phones, nothing. Yeah. The only individuals that had phones were those who had government contract phones, and that was your commander and your first sergeant. That was really it.
Yep.
And I do think some of our spouses are getting that sense of what seasoned spouses went through in the 2000s, of that no communication. And then if you miss that phone call, it's not there. With the way current things are happening, and this has just been the normal for the last 6 years. So keep that in mind, that it's once again changing. It's once again a new normal.
Yeah.
And normal is not a word we should be using in military life, I think. Like there is no normal.
No.
There's no normal. It's all dependent on command, branch, assignment, everything like that. Everything can be different. So if you have someone telling you that's not normal, your husband's cheating or whatever the case may be, just shut it down. Like
ignore them.
Just ignore it. Like I saw something about this the other day where, is this normal for them not to have their phone, or is he just saying that? And I'm like, there is no normal. Like
I know.
This is this whole incident that we're going through right now is a very fluid situation.
Yes.
There is no answer. We don't know. This could end tomorrow, everybody. Right. Or this could be our new 20-year normal. We don't know. And so we can't speculate. We can't do that. What we can control is the things that we can control, which is your style. It's what you're doing every day. You're building your network, whether you're volunteering, you're working, whatever the case may be. And if you're listening to this and your first time listening to the podcast, and you're like, how can I find me? I want to feel more me. I always say this. Choose that why not. Take that leap of faith in trying something new, whether that is not reinventing yourself, finding your true self, or volunteering because that's what you are capable of doing because you have young kids and you can't work a full-time job and afford childcare. I get it. I had to pay for a babysitter the other day for a full day event. And I was like, what? How are people affording this every single day? I don't know. And that's why Deployed Love has our programs in place, because not only do we want families to have a place, safe space, but we wanted to give spouses opportunities to have a job where they're learning and growing and can have something tangible on their resume when they want to, if they ever do return to the workforce. But giving them self-worth, like we've talked about this before, like before I came into Deployed Love, I was so lost with my identity. I didn't know who I was. I did not like that I was just a military spouse and a mom. That was not what I wanted to be. I wanted to be more. I was like, I have a college degree. I have all these things. I have all this experience and I have all this knowledge from all these different things. And that's not what I want to be. And I literally did, why not? And I reached out and I was like, how can I volunteer? Like, I have time. What can I do?
Right.
That was 6 years ago, guys. And I think that, this is truly what I love to do. There are times where I'm like, oh, this is too much. But that's my fault. It's not just take on too many things. And I think knowing who you are and experiencing that and growing is important through this lifestyle. And we are going to grow. I'm not the same. Laura's not the same that we were when we first became new military spouses. I am not the same person.
Not at all.
And that's where you have to grow and have those conversations with your spouse and your network of, this is who I am, or this is who I want to be. How can I get from point A to point B? Is going to make your journey more fun. Because I feel like if you're in a rut, you're going to enjoy this life. And I truly love military life. It comes with its challenges. It comes with its heartaches. But it is really rewarding. And comes with so many different things that you would never experience.
For sure. And that's where building that community comes in. It gives you perspective when people viewpoints and stories and experiences, and there's always somebody who has a more challenging situation than you've dealt with or whatever, and it gives you that perspective, because that's what I would do is go, okay, he hasn't been able to call me for a couple days, but my grandmother used to wait for a telegram. Get over yourself. And so being able to have that perspective. My grandfather was gone for years as a B-17 pilot. And my grandmother would get a call and say, hey, he's been assigned to this new unit. He's not moving, but you have to. And she had to pack up her car with anything she could fit in her car and my uncle and move to the new base. So when people say
that's crazy to think about, crazy. Like how drastic was back then. Now the amount, this is a conversation we had, and I can't remember who I had this conversation with, but it might have been with my dad, where the resources and stuff back then were very minimal. And now there's this plethora there's so many resources out there that people don't even know about them. Right. That, again, if you don't utilize them, they're going to go, because people knew that this was a need and they've created it. If I cannot stress this enough to anyone who's listening, please utilize the resources. Even if you don't think that you need it right then and there, learning about it and knowing it can help your network. Hey, your friend is dealing with postpartum depression, or your other friend is dealing with infertility. There are resources for both of those out there, designated for just military spouses alone.
You can be a resource by knowing that stuff. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that was going to be my next question. I was like, your next step, what would you, other than advice? But I think, again, having that information is important to everybody. And I think that will set you up for success. Set your success up as a military spouse. If you are struggling with your style, reach out to Laura. Get your style consult done. I know I'm planning to do so once I lose a little bit more weight. I'm so excited with the journey that I've been on. I think that is because I know that once I get to that point, I'm like, nothing in my closet will fit and I will need a whole new wardrobe. Right. I'm very excited. I think that's going to be so fun. If you're looking for someone to help you determine body type, style, body type, color analysis, one-on-one consulting, finding your style, all the things that we talked about today, Laura's your girl. She's a fellow military spouse.
Absolutely.
We love supporting other military spouses. So why not, if that's something you're interested in doing, reach out to her. Do you have any final words of encouragement for today's listeners?
Yeah, just you can do this. It's hard, and a lot of loud voices out there on social media from spouses that like to do a lot of complaining about military life or how awful we have it. And yeah, things can always improve. We can always use more resources. But like you said, there are so many resources out there. There are so many people out there willing to be an encouragement, be a mentor, help you find the answers that you need, get the help that you need. My inbox is always open. People can always reach out to me as well. And so don't listen to those negative voices. Find people who can help you have that positive attitude, because it is such a privilege, a sacrifice, if you want to call it that, as we don't necessarily serve, but we do make some sacrifices, obviously. But it is such a privilege and an honor to do it, because it's for your neighbors, it's for the community, for the country at large, and really even internationally. Like, our country is amazing, our military is amazing, and so to even just be a very small part of that, I think is such a gift. And so don't listen to all of the negativity, and keep listening to podcasts like this one that are encouraging and uplifting.
I think that is the case, especially if you deal with the negativity. I think this is a perfect way to end this episode, is find those encouraging voices and stick to those encouraging voices. If you see something negative, don't, like, if you are in those groups that are just bashing military spouses, and that is a problem for you, leave those groups. Don't engage.
Walk away.
I mean,
Kelly Clarkson
just walk
says,
away.
just walk away.
Just do the things you have to do. And there's so many, obviously I will always recommend our podcast, but there are so many other military spouse podcasts out there that give amazing feedback and experience and expertise in other avenues. And again, I'm a firm believer you can never have too many resources, just like Laura said. So all 10 spouse, there's so many guys, there's so many out there, whether it's a veteran or in a case like that there's people out there who want to make sure that you are equipped with all the tools to navigate this life. And all you have to do is click. Like, all you have to do is take that step. It's really easy. It can be terrifying to ask for help. I think that's a huge thing, that we put this brave face on and we're like, I can handle this, but it's okay to ask for help. And if you're not asking for help, then you probably are silently struggling. Just our hands out, like literally here, my hand is here.
Yes.
Grab on, because I'm here to go on the ride with you. And I know any of my coordinators and any of my volunteers are here, and so many other amazing military spouses. If you're looking for people to connect, go to LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn is a really great place to go find uplifting military spouses, and just type in military spouse, type in military spouse of the year, military spouse advocate, and follow and connect with them. One, you're going to learn some amazing information from them. Number two, you're going to find people who are genuinely there to uplift, support, and make sure that you feel seen and heard. And so if Facebook's too much for you, go to a different platform.
That's right.
I think TikTok's a really great platform too, in terms of if you're looking for a like-minded community. Again, don't go towards someone who's constantly I feel like if you're following someone who is constantly posting negative things, like crying, yes, it's sad. It's sad that our service member is gone, but you don't want to be surrounded by sadness all the time. Find someone who's, hey, did you know this? Or, hey, did you know that this is something cool that you get to do as a military spouse? No, let me tell you all about it. And I think that will make your journey better. So I think that's a perfect way to end the episode. We talked about fashion, but we talked about so much more. And I love that. So thank you so much for re-recording with me, Laura. I said that I thought this was going to be a short episode, but it's actually 30 minutes longer than our last episode. And I love it. We are here for you guys. We are here to make sure you feel seen and heard. We're here to make you feel like your confident self, especially Laura. Go see her. I have all of her information in the show notes, normal. And make sure you're following our social media pages as well. And like we like to say, rock up, Buttercup.